Hi, today we're going to be looking at the area of a triangle. Let's get started. Okay, so we all know what a triangle is, right? We all know what that is, but how do we find the area of a triangle? Before we get to answer that question, I want to do a quick review of a parallelogram, right? We talked about parallelograms in a previous video. If you haven't seen that video, please go watch it. But a parallelogram is this little thing, right? It's four sides, two opposite sides that are parallel to each other, hence the name parallelogram. And yeah, that's a parallelogram. But I want to talk about the relationship between a parallelogram and a triangle. Okay, so check this out. So we've got a regular parallelogram here. If I add a triangle here, it covers this part right here. If I add another triangle on the other side, it covers perfectly the other side. So what does this tell us? It tells us that two triangles equals one parallelogram, right? So is that the case with every parallelogram? Yes, it is. So we know that the area of a parallelogram is uh, base times height, right? So the area of a parallelogram is base times height. So if this were the base and this were the height, all you have to do is take this, multiply it by that, and that gives you the area of a parallelogram. Since a triangle is nothing but 1/2 of a parallelogram, we could modify this to get a formula for a triangle. So the area of a triangle is very simple, right? It's area equals base times height divided by 2. Now why am I dividing by 2? Because remember, a parallelogram is two triangles. Or another way of putting it, one triangle is 1/2 the parallelogram. So there's a few ways of writing this. You could write this as area equals base times height divided by 2. Or you could write it the way I wrote it up here using the fraction method. But essentially it's all the same. What you have to remember is you have to multiply the base times height. So you have to find the area of a parallelogram. Then once you get that number, divide by 2. So this is the second step. Okay, let's do a few questions and see if we could get the hang of it. Okay, so let's have a look. We've got three triangles here, right? Triangle 1, triangle 2, triangle 3. Let's see if we could figure out the area of each triangle. Okay, so we need to find out the base and we need to find out the height. Here we've got three numbers, so let's not be confused. We need to figure out what the base is and what the height is. Well, I could tell you that this is the base and this is the height. How do I know that? Remember, the height has to be attached to the right angle triangle, right? So this is a right angle. Sorry, right angle. So this is the base, that's the height, or you could say this is the base and this is the height. But quite frankly, there's no difference, right? If you multiply this times this, it'll give you the same answer as if you multiply this with this. It's the same thing. However, this really doesn't do anything because it's not connected to the right angle. So that's your clue, the right angle. So let's say that this is the base and this is the height, okay? So we know the area of a parallelogram is base times height, but since it's a triangle, we have to divide it by 2, as we've determined a triangle is merely 1/2 of a parallelogram. So what's the base and what's the height? Well, the base is 120 centimeters and the height is 40 centimeters. And what we have to do now is we have to multiply. What's 40 times 120? It's 4800. It's 4,800 centimeters squared. And we need to divide that by 2. Well, what's 4,800 divided by 2? It's 2,400. So it's 2,400 centimeter squared. Another way of saying it is 2,400. Okay, so that's the area of this particular triangle. Okay, pretty easy stuff, no? Yeah. Okay, so let's do the next one. This one's much easier because there's only two numbers, nothing confusing about this. This is the base and this is the height. So again, area equals base times height divided by 2. Base is 51 centimeters. Height is 32 centimeters. And divide that by 2. Well, what's 51 times 32 centimeters? It's 1,632 centimeters squared. Divide that by 2, and that gives us 816 centimeters squared. So that's the answer. That's the area of this triangle. Lastly, we've got this triangle, and that's a pretty easy one too. This is the base, and this is the height. So area equals base times height divided by 2. Well, base is 30 centimeters. Height is 90 centimeters. Dividing this by 2. Well, what's 30 times 90? It's 2,700 centimeters squared. Divide that by 2. Well, what's 2,700 divided by 2? It's 1,350 centimeters squared. Okay, that's the area of this triangle. Pretty easy stuff. Simply follow the formula, make sure you carry your units, and remember the answer, since this is the area, is always squared. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video.